Well, actually, it wasn't, I didn't think nothing of it because here he is going to law school to be a lawyer. And so I thought, I'm going to get a good deal here, nothing wrong. So I liked the car. I thought it was in good shape. So I decided to buy it. And he decided to bring it out to my house when I bought it that night. I got to he bring it out there that night, and I had borrowed a loan to get the money, and I didn't have a bank account, so I had to wait for my mother to get home so she could go to the bank and cash it for me. And she ended up having to work like 2 hours overtime that night, so he had to sit at my house all that time waiting.
Wow.
And finally my mom come home and she took me down, we cashed the check, and I give him the money, and then I bring him up here and dropped him back off. On the way home, I was driving up the street from my house and I got pulled over.
Oh, really?
Same day?
I didn't know.
And the cop just gave me a warning, told me to slow down.
Right.
But if he would have checked into it.
You were driving the bug.
Yeah.
Oh,
if he would have checked into it, then
he got pulled over driving the bug.
may have been a lot different.
I remember you telling me that, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had the car, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after that. I drove it all over the place. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I was going to school at that time at Hillcrest.
All right. Hillcrest was our rivals. I went to Brighton.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And my friend, she, the little windshield wiper thing on there, she painted it fluorescent pink with her fingernail polish.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
And I just left it, I thought it was kind of cool. So I left it there, but when I went to court up in Aspen, and Bundy handed me 3 pictures, and he asked me, he says, which one of these are the car? And I told him that showed up in the picture. So I told him, I said, this is, and he told me that none of those were the pictures of his car.
Really?
And it's like it had to have been because that thing showed up, So
Did it have the pink nail polish on
Yeah.
it and everything? Oh, so you knew.
yeah, I knew that picture was the car, So he was lying right there. So it was very, very clean. He was spotless. Yeah.
I know. Andrew. He's going to have to put up a YouTube video, so he has a different camera, so I'm just doing the live feed.
So was that probably the last time you were ever up here, Brian, was back in those days, Or?
Yeah, I've never came back up here.
No reason to.
I don't
No.
have a steady cam.
But I remember this house.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
It never left my mind, for some reason. But
Well, I can imagine. 565, and it's actually on that side. There's an address 563.
that's really cool that they are here.
First.
Alright, so we're going to go in first. This is just underneath Bundy's apartment.
This is where Christine Mon lived. Bundy.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how are you? Hey, how's it going, Whitney? Hey, can we come in? Yeah. Come on in, Brian. Talking about this was Christine Mon's apartment.
Christine,
Right?
yes, his girlfriend or his.
Bundy actually had a girlfriend.
Not his
that-
girlfriend, but his.
I think he had a lot of girlfriends. But,
He had at least
apparently,
Yeah.
and some that weren't. I don't know. She was the Supreme Court judge's daughter. Be careful, you snoot.
Go, go.
How do you like living here?
I love living here.
It's a really cool apartment.
I've been in your apartment.
Oh wow, look at that.
This remodeled too, Chris.
Good question. I would assume so. These floors look pretty old. Some of them. Oh, I have that other one, but not for your Facebook Live thing.
Infidelity, yes. He definitely had infidelity going on. But you know, that was his beard. That was his way of saying, "Hey, I'm a normal dude."
I love this. I love this. Look at this. This is fantastic. And there's the ladder waiting right there.
Oh, okay. Ladder.
Right on the outside window. Interesting. You know, one of the urban legends is, you guys, that he, you know, and by the way, I have to tell you that I don't believe for a second, I don't know what you think, Mike, I don't think he ever had girls up there.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely, that's pandemonium insanity. And one of the urban legends is that he brought girls up this ladder. But the bottom of the ladder is 5 foot high.
There we go. Yeah. Look at you, man, you're like doing a total Nick Cave thing. Dig it.
Fire escape looks are correct, Chris.
Yes, it does.
It makes me a little bit nervous if it's
Yeah,
not
if it's actually error correct, Mike, I see your point.
I stand.
Do you? Okay. Well, then I'm going out.
You're a thrill seeker,
I've had a
Wendy.
couple of people.
It feels good. So,
That's a good point of view shot, Chris.
excellent. You mean of me? So that's completely vertical. Probably, I reckon, about 25 feet. This would be your view. Standing on Bundy's. Now, these apartments are error correct. They were actually here when Bundy was here.
Hey, honey,
Yeah.
take Bryan over your shoulder.
Okay, yeah, I'm all over that. Let's do it. So, and one of my positions is that even walking a girl up here, or carrying a half lifeless body up these stairs with that door potentially popping open, that door potentially popping open, bringing someone across the lighted
And there
front
was a
area.
door here also, wasn't there?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what Dan Lish was saying. So there
Yeah.
must have been something. That's a confusing one. I don't know what that is.
What's on the outside of that wall?
Well,
It's my bedroom and the other apartment, so I think it might have been split.
okay, maybe
Well,
it was
because
like,
at one point this was one house
Mm-hmm.
so this was like a doorway,
into that
and
building.
part of that apartment and part of your apartment was an apartment.
And this
Yeah,
used
I
to be
think
number
so.
2?
This was number 2, right?
Right, Bundy number 2, and they changed the numbering system, so now it's number 5.
Oh, yeah. What do I know?
Yes, you do.
Well, this was number 2, yes.
Yes.
And then it changed to number 5.
We've been in here before. Whitney's awesome.
These girls have the most fantastic.
It's a lot different.
Honey, can we move in?
I love this place.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it was when I came in here.
This is Glenn.
Yeah, they,
It's Glenn, okay.
They have, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn.
Was this his apartment?
This is Ted's apartment.
This was Ted's apartment.
Does it feel weird
completely
to live
different? Brian says he
No,
flew Ted.
no.
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't. Sometimes
It's
I
nothing like it was.
I get kind of weirded out, but it's just me overthinking it. Nothing weird has ever happened. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I'm with you. I strongly believe nothing. I don't
Yeah.
think anything ever happened up here. But that's my opinion. Just, it sounds ridiculous. I don't know, what do you think?
I don't believe
I agree, there's just too many people here. His best friend lived across the hall, James Dunn, and James Dunn actually asked Bundy to be his best man at his wedding.
Right, and was.
You know, imagine that wedding photo album, right?
I'd like to get
Where
my
is
hands
that
on
now?
it. Well, his wife's name
We're
was
working on it.
his wife's name was Janet Davis.
Spuds looking for him. We found him in a cemetery in California. He
Sacramento.
passed away at 89, like 4 months after Bundy was executed.
Okay.
Strange enough, but yeah.
Yeah, he's
And-
buried in Sacramento.
Yeah. No, we can't find any information on him other than the headstone.
I
And some of
found.
the statements he made in Jerry Thompson's police report. And
Yeah,
he vehemently denied that Bundy could have been capable of
right.
doing those crimes.
Yeah, there was something about. I found some of his family
wall
members.
wasn't even here.
Really?
This was here. And you went around this way into his bedroom.
Oh, interesting. So this wasn't even a closet? 'Cause he's in his
No, it was
closet?
It's a
open.
closet.
Okay.
Here.
So his kitchen was over here.
Mhm.
Oh,
And he had meat hooks hanging
Sorry.
from the,
hooks.
yeah.
What?
from
I'm
the
sorry,
ceiling
explain that
over here.
again. his kitchen was where?
His kitchen was more over here,
Okay.
and you'd walk around into his bedroom this way, but there was like a bar, like for your kitchen. Here, he had a big wood cutting board sitting here, and he had meat hooks hanging from the ceiling here.
Really?
That's weird.
Somewhere in here. You know,
So the sink was over here and stuff, or the?
it was
Meat hooks, yeah.
a lot
It's
different,
really
yes.
take, 'cause,
Here's an
you
old
know,
stove,
I certainly don't believe he
1960s
brought meat
era
hooks
current.
there, 'cause
Maybe
there
he
was other
did, I
places.
don't know.
But still, meat hooks hanging, you know, that's kind of interesting.
And this meat, it's totally different than what it was when I came in here.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you still walk around to the bedroom this way, right?
Okay.
And then
Bathroom, same place? Bedroom, same place?
before you had to go through the bedroom to get to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
So it's really changed.
So where was the bedroom then?
Same place, he said.
It was here.
It was over here, but you had to go through the bedroom to get into the bathroom.
So there was like a door over on the other side,
Yeah.
and this was one solid wall,
It,
or?
it had to have been, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this was solid, and the entry was from his bedroom.
Like on the back of the.
Wow, it's crazy.
Very different, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, thank you,
there you go.
Thank you, Brian. Brian, I love you, man. You're the bomb for coming up here and hanging out with us. This is, it's gotta be a little weird for you. I'm gonna take a look in the bedroom here. There's potentially a wall. Back window.
Short-term insurance policy right now.
He agrees to pay
It's a
for
go.
any of the breaks, so we got it on video.
I want to go in the bedroom.
Oh yeah, go for it. Asferatu. Nice.
It still works.
Yeah.
No, this is.
So how long have you lived here or downstairs?
About 5 years.
5 years, that's right.
I lived in the studio down there, and then when the one bedroom opened up, I moved over.
So is the studio next door?
Yeah, that one that has a separate entrance.
You know what?
The studio, and then there's one in the back that's a
There
studio.
is,
too.
nobody really
And then
believes
that
he
one's
brought him
like
up to
2
the
bedrooms.
apartment.
Get a vibe on this place? or-
Not here. I mean, I have other places I've lived, but not here.
Everybody's about.
I do remember when I lived downstairs,
downstairs.
the kid who lived in that apartment
I'm nervous to go
texted
down
me
there.
like, "Oh my God,
Right,
did you know
me
who
too.
lived
I know.
here?
I've been down
I
there
didn't know
once,
Ted
and
Bundy
it
lived
was
here."
And you knew, right?
I knew,
Yeah.
and so
Ted,
I
for
was
like
like,
you
"Oh,
have."
yeah." He lived here for a while
No,
too.
yeah, it was a little bit scary.
But I asked him if
Yeah.
anything
I
weird
don't
ever
know,
happened
like
at their
that.
place, and he said once
I don't
something
believe in
went
ghosts
flying
or
across the
anything like that,
kitchen.
but yeah, it's a little
But
unnerving.
who knows?
Yeah, right.
But no, I've never had anything weird happen. I mean, sometimes if you're out,
This
like
thing's pulling up off.
doing laundry when it's dark, it's kind of weird out there, like in the back,
Yeah.
pitch black.
I remember walking.
Well, I mean, the place definitely has a vibe to it, but I think a lot of that is just because it's an old building.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I
That's
saw it, I was
kind
like,
of a feel like it.
and then I remember I did.
Yeah, I think this house was, what I understand, it was built in, there was a house originally here in 1882.
Okay.
Then they tore that structure down in the 20s. I think there was a fire. And they built this structure, which was called they called it a Dutch colonial style thing. On top of that, and left the
Right when all
cellar.
this happened,
Oh.
I had
so-
gone ready to stay.
According to a guy named Dan Lish I spoke to,
That was,
he lived here
excuse me.
probably January
mom
through
was a
September
teacher
of
like
'75
this.
when Bundy left this place because he was just basically trying to ditch his car to you, and he was trying to get the hell out of here.
I need somebody with experience.
I said you know Craig.
What's that?
I need somebody with a spotlight.
Well, I'm going down in just a second. But Bundy, according to Dan, he was the house supervisor. He controlled the cellar.
He was the
House
property management.
Property
Property
management.
manager.
And
he had only access to this, and it used to be locked.
So one of the things that he told Dennis Couch and he told other investigators is that he brought Deborah Kent back to this apartment alive half the time, was his words. Nancy Wilcox, Jamie's cousin, he said.
That's I'm not worried about her.
He said he brought her back here. Because Couch was like, "Did you bring her back to the apartment?" And what did he say? He said, "Yeah, I brought her back to the apartment."
That's what he claimed.
I keep wondering if it was down here.
Well,
Are we going down?
if he did bring girls here,
I'll get down on
this makes sense.
This would be the only place.
Or they were dead in his car, in his trunk. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't bring a live girl back and leave her in your car.
Does it work?
Yeah. Brian, you want to lead the way?
Definitely.
Sure. All right.
So I don't know.
I'll follow you down. Go ahead.
So Brian is going down, and this is an error correct latch, by the way.
Chris, that is the definition of error correct, my friend.
Mike's been giving me crap.
That is the catchphrase. You're correct.
Era.
Era.
Not era.
Era. Here we go. We're going down.
Okay.
All right. Jamie.
One last swig here. And Jamie's going down.
More worried about me falling.
There you go. I think we can all fit down there, right?
Oh yeah.
I pictured this much different, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, much different.
Definitely got to drop your head a little bit.
Storage.
Touch them because of evidence and all, but
Haven't they gone? Have they not dug through all of this?
Nobody knows. There was one account that we found by a guy who lived here in '89 after he's executed, saying when he lived here, there were still flags that the police had set up over the mounds of dirt where they had been searching for evidence. But I mean, the question is, when did they search it, and how well did they
how
search
did
it?
they?
Yeah.
The stuff that hangs from the ropes and whatnot that hang from the side or what weirded me out.
Oh, this old wiring.
Yeah.
Isn't that wire?
That right there is just twine.
Okay.
And then there's wire up above it.
You know, one of the stories that you always hear
Well, I wonder because they've never found her, and I always wondered if
is that he kept a box of Polaroid pictures on the property,
think she's here,
right?
but-
Isn't that what
Even
But was she?
something to
even
that
this
nature, Mike?
wall
Yeah.
is newer.
Yeah, he claimed to have Polaroids of various victims down
yeah,
here.
it's newer. Look at
And
this was rock.
you
That he
got
later destroyed
This
after he was
has been
arrested.
put in.
right.
well, yeah,
Just
this is all
interesting.
new Plumbing and.
What's the dirt floor?
Well, I
What-
don't
what's
think that
this
this
right
is their
here?
end spot, but I want them to do a better job.
Okay, you guys, look clear back here. Is
That's what I
there
wondered about.
is there a cross space that they closed off? Because look, you definitely
So
got
this
even-
is all new too, all this insulation.
Yeah.
I think on the other side, Mike, around the corner over here, there might be a crawl space.
No, it doesn't go back
It
very far.
ends right
Oh,
up
does
around
it?
there. We already checked
You
it
already
out.
looked. Okay, okay. That was something I was.
I'm just thinking
That's so weird.
this
That's
wall.
completely bizarre.
What? Definitely not.
Yeah, I know, I heard him just say that, but
Two
Yeah,
of
you gotta
them
think the
hanging
Why?
likelihood of something like that is
Yeah.
too much urban legend built
Yeah, I
up
would-
about
I mean,
it.
did the
definitely.
police know that you saw meat hooks in his house?
I don't know.
That was really hot on Connie. Really hot.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What is all this stuff?
Down
Yeah.
here too. I think.
Chris,
that
do you
is
think
called
this is like
back in there.
a crawl space leading back here?
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah,
you
I
can-
think so
and they
too.
closed it off at some point?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I do. I think that, oh, sorry.
I feel
Oh, that dirt is
someone has
really
put this
soft.
wall
Yeah,
up
I
here.
know, it's all over my.
It doesn't,
Is it?
Uh-huh.
it doesn't belong.
Will you shine that light? No, I'm short.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It looks like they closed this off. You guys can see it.
So this looks like this would be you. Maybe this one. I don't think this could be in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yes.
She went to school with me.
She went to school with you. Brian went
Cool.
to school with,
Melissa Smith. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he
she went to
was.
school with you?
Uh-huh.
You have all these weird ties, don't you?
Yeah.
You guys have all
I
these
think
weird
we all do.
ties.
In some strange way, we're all connected.
Yeah.
Well.
I do believe that
Crazy.
only the family members of the victims.
Yeah, I do think that was probably a crawl space back there.
That is important.
Wow. Am I the only one down here? Oh. All right.
How much dirt's on the floor, Chris? Or if they could take someone, if they could get someone with sonar equipment down here, that would be,
That's-
I think,
Well, with
the best
the
bet.
DNA and all the new
I totally
equipment
agree.
they have, I do believe that they could find evidence.
I mean, as far as we know, this is all dirt.
Jamie's
There's nothing
gone.
underneath
Jamie's
it.
had enough. Reopen this.
Wow.
Let's check this corner.
Yeah, stick your hand down there, buddy. That's what I was thinking.
Look at the ancient beer can.
Look at it. Is there any? Look at. Stick your hand there. It's like a little ring. Bricks. Man, I want to go back in that crawl space so bad. You know what I mean? Don't you think?
Yeah, I can't believe there's anything.
Wow. Was that the only one?
Yeah, we only found the one.
Hey.
The gentleman that he spoke to in Provo, he actually really wants to reopen this cellar. And
There was major surveillance on this house, September '75, right after Bryan bought the car and had it seized by the police in Santa Quantico. They were watching this house, 24-hour surveillance with Jerry Thompson, Detective Ira Bill, and the FBI.
Yeah, this place
looked
was
like
under
mine's.
surveillance big time. They had Ira
Doesn't
Beals
she?
from
Yeah.
Bountiful
You have.
was actually one of the guys in charge of it. I talked to him on the phone, and he said that they would get. There was two guys. I can't remember the other guy's name. I want to say Collard, and then there was another guy named Ballantyne. Those three guys
He's like a freak.
would get cars from different dealerships all over town. They would park down there, over there, up the street around the corner, behind the house, over there, anywhere you can think of. And they would switch out cars twice a day, and Bundy would still be hip to it.
Keep him under surveillance for for several days, and it was just like he knew exactly where we were at and exactly when we were following him, and had no reason to, because we had it set up to where we were changing cars. We were not using police cars. We were using just standard sedans, you know, and they weren't police-looking sedans. They were any several times a week. So it wasn't that he could go out and spot the cars.
He said
What
that
it was
he said that it was weird, and they would follow him in traffic, and he would get lost in traffic all the time. They tried to bring Carol DeRanch up here at least 3 times, and the first time Collard went to get Carol DeRanch at Mountain Bell where she worked, and said, "Look, we need to borrow her for an hour. She's taking an hour off in the middle of the day." And Ballantyne was here watching Bundy and kind of casing him. And they were probably using the old cop CB style thing back in those days, no cell phones. But when Collard left, this is all in Jerry's reports too, which is written by Ira Beals. When Collard left to get DeRanch, Bundy got in his car, went up to the University of Utah, came back down, and then went down to the Pacific Telephone Company downtown on 2nd South and 3rd East, which, by the way, is right next to the Salt Lake cop shop, the old one. Back in those days, they'd moved down. And then he followed him down there, and the whole time he's telling him, "Look, he's going over here, he's going over there." And then he got lost in traffic because Bundy went up north on Main Street and completely lost him in traffic. It's just so bizarre, man. Like, he totally knew he was being tailed. And I mean,
cars up there were Subaru.
he wasn't just paranoid. Someone was actually watching him.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's pretty wild, man.
It was nice.
You done? Okay.
This was in November. And
Thanks, man.
Supposed to go back in January and testify again. Well, he escaped after I was there in November, so I didn't go back in January. But anyway, he takes me over to the courthouse. So I'm sitting in the courthouse, and Mike Fisher called me at that time, and he called the courthouse and says, "Bryan never showed up at the airport. I don't know where he's at." And they're like, "Well, he's right here."
He's touring Aspen.
So I did. I sat there and I waited. They took me over to the hotel. And so they checked me into the hotel. I go up in my room, and I'm sitting up in my room, and I'm thinking, okay, everything's mellowing out. So I light up a joint, and I'm smoking a joint. In my hotel room.
This is on camera, remember?
Oh, yeah, no, let it out, man. It's YouTube.
That's right. He was,
we have nudity and everything.
He was in Colorado. That was fine.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine there.
But all of a sudden I get a phone call, and it's Mike Fisher telling me they wanted to take me out to dinner that night. And so I'm like, he's, "Okay, I'll come up and get you." And I'm like, "No, I'll meet you down in the lobby, you know." The whole room smells like
You're all
Bob.
paranoid thinking about your kindergarten teacher.
So I run down there, and
Brian,
they
you
took me
bad
out to dinner, and they bought me steak and lobster and everything. There was like 6 cops that night.
But they couldn't afford to buy you a new car after they seized it, right?
Yeah.
Where's the money going?
Yeah, there's a good point. Well, it was Colorado, and it was Utah.
Here I am. I'm stoned out of my mind, and here I am sitting with
Cops.
6 cops talking about all this stuff, and it was just crazy. But then we left there, and we went over to the hotel, and they had a big conference room.
Yeah.
And a big table was sitting there, and they had judges, book writers, and all these people sitting around there. I don't know who they all were. But Carol DeRanch came over and sat next to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here doing this." She was beautiful, she really was.
Yeah.
And so we started talking. Well, this guy came over to me, and he's like, "I'm Jerry Lawson," or something like that. He said he was writing a book.
Oh, Jerry Larson. Richard Larson.
Yeah, Deliberate Stranger.
Dick Larson, as Jerry calls him. Yeah.
Yeah. He came over and he was talking to me, and he says, I told him at that time, "I'll tell you whatever you want to know, but do not put me in that book."
Yeah.
And so he says, "Okay." And so A few years later, yeah.
He changed his
come
mind.
to find out my name's in there, but they spelled it wrong. So there was nothing I could do.
They didn't use a pseudonym or anything. They pretty much.
My last name is Severson. They put Severson. So they
Okay.
put an I in the end in my name, and so there's nothing I could do. They were saying that's not your name.
Do you think that was the thing to just kind of do it anyway, and you know,
Yeah.
and so you couldn't do anything about it?
Right? I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way.
That's some DNA
And I-
thing. Like, or
I didn't
do not-
know
do
that
not
I was in that
disclose, what do you
book
call
for
it?
many, many years, you know. And I was at a
remember.
friend's house, and we were joking around with her, telling her husband told her that I had done all these murders, and
Jesus.
he was. And so she goes to the library and checked out every book on him, you know, at that time. And the next day I get a phone call saying, "Bryan, you're in this book." And I'm like, oh my God. But nothing I could do about it, you know. That's okay, you know.
Yeah,
But
just, they don't have to pay you
Well, we won't
any
we won't
royalties
be going
that
to
way. You know,
this
that's
book
yes.
unless you.
I'm fine with it now. At that time, I was not, you know. I was only 17. I was young and stupid.
When you saw him, was he present in court when you testified?
Yes.
Bundy cross-examined Bryan.
Yeah.
They
Was
had
he
him
intimidated?
shackled and handcuffed and bring him up the stairs, and I
In
sat
a
there and
suit?
watched him bring him up.
In a suit? Or was he in jail clothes, or was he in a suit?
No, he was in jail clothes. And then they
Was
bring
he
him
intimidating?
in.
Was he intimidating?
No, not at all. I didn't think he was anyway.
You know, did he seem narcissistic to you? I mean, now that you're aware of what that term is, but or what that means, probably, but
Right.
back then, as 17, and in those days, you probably wouldn't have known what that meant. But did he seem narcissistic?
Not really, no. He seemed just average at the time. He seemed so calm, and like this was all a big joke to him. You know? He really did.
Yeah.
He thought it was all a big joke.
And you know, it's funny. That's
how he made me feel, anyway. You know.
That's what I've always kind of felt. You know, from hearing different, you know, people talk about it, is like it was a big joke. Like
Yeah.
he was just pulling a big caper on somebody. That's interesting. You know, because most people would have been very fearful for their life if they were in the
Right,
position
right.
he was.
Right.
Well,
You
you
know.
want to know what some caper is? What he did to our family. That's some caper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn straight.